Hi there. Apparently there's this thing going around right now called remote brutality. It's got something to do with Finland and COVID. Well, I thought, that sounds like fun. This match came about as the result of COVID implications on a larger event called Finnish Brutality. This is typically a public, though registered event held in Finland and organized by InRange TV and the two personalities associated with that channel, Carl and Ian, and their friends at Varusteleka, a vendor of tactical supplies and military surplus in Finland. Now I realize that at the time of the publishing of this video, submissions are already closed for the match, as they ended on the 14th of March. As it was, this was the earliest I could get up and do some shooting. So be it. It's all for fun anyway. So apparently, this shoot it's pretty easy to set up, but not so easy to actually do. You see, you shoot at 50 yards or meters or whatever part of the world you're from, and perpendicular to that, you've got a line. And that line is 15 meters or 50 feet across. And you start at one end, and you make your way across to the other side. And every time you pass the opposite line, you get a bonus off of the total time, which is always 3 minutes. That's how long the shoot lasts for. The thing is that as you go across, you need to throw a weight and then move to where you've thrown that weight. And I don't think, given the weight of the weight, you can throw it 50 feet and get it all the way across. Apparently you're supposed to use something like a kettlebell or something like that, but I don't have one of those, so what I do have is this. Yeah, this rock, and you have to throw it like this, and then run after it. And not trip on vines and stuff. You get the point. So anyway, as you throw the rock or the weight across that 50-foot space, you then run to it and shoot around from the prone position at the target and hit it. Once you've done that, you then stand up and chuck the weight again and work your way across that 50-foot space till you get to the other end, which we already have discussed, gets you a bonus. The more times you can cross those end points within the 3 minutes, the better your score. So, enough talking. Let's throw some weight around. Oh yeah. Welcome to Remote Brutality, the Rourke's Drift edition. Now, the target I'm going to use is a figure 4A, and that isn't perhaps historic to the time period of the 1870s, but it's sort of the best size steel target that I have to match the requirements for the shoot. So this is what it looks like. So some viewers of the channel may be familiar with this. I've done a bit of Lee Enfield shooting with this particular target. So anyway, it's good and heavy steel. So that's what I'm using. There is perhaps one other detail that you might be interested in, and that's, of course, the rifle I'm going to use. And viewers of the channel will be well familiar with this. It's my Mark I Martini Henry. The ammunition I used for this shoot was a combination of that featuring the grease groove bullet and a paper patched. Admittedly, shooting at only 50 meters, any difference that is experienced between the two is negligible. In keeping with the theme of the channel, I was using my pattern 1871 valise equipment. Admittedly, it was in a slightly stripped down state. Carrying the greatcoat high on the shoulders, plus the wearing of the Foreign Service helmet, is not a good combination in shooting prone. The packets of ammunition were stored in the front two ammunition pouches. When required for use, The packets were opened and emptied into the expense pouch, carried at the right side of the belt. By way of commentary here, the very first thing that leapt into the forefront as being somewhat difficult to work with was the helmet. As you'll notice here, I did fit a webbing sling to the stone. I guess I'm getting soft in my old age. You'll also notice that I wasn't moving particularly quickly between rock throws. This was done because I felt I could achieve part of the loading evolution while on the move. And while moving quicker would get me to the rock faster, chances are I'd have to adopt the prone position and load. Whereas if I had walked quickly between the 2 points, the loading would almost be done. As it was, I didn't feel that there was too much time wasted, given the fact that using a single-shot breech loader in this match naturally handicaps one as far as time goes. In moving back from right to left, it was interesting in the loading evolution needed to be completed while holding the rifle in the left hand and thumbing the cartridge in a rather awkward way, the rifle being held in the downrange position. While the rifle itself is certainly ambidextrous, the equipment certainly is not, and having the ammunition stored on the right hip really negates the ability to load with the left hand. Despite the difficulties inherent in using a set of equipment that dates from the 1870s, I felt that the loading evolutions, while moving, were performed with reasonable flow and in a timely manner. As seemed to be the case more often than not, the cartridge was drawn from the pouch and chambered by the time I got to the rock. After adopting the prone position, it was a simple evolution of lifting the lever and closing the breech. This point brought me my first miss. What was an interesting takeaway here was the fact that, in sighting for my second round, the smoke was lingering next to the ground and actually provided a bit of a hindrance in acquiring the target again. And yeah, another miss. Believe it or not, this was not premeditated. Something just came over me as the timer signaled the end of the 3 minutes. It is British muzzleloaders, after all.
Well, that was a fun shoot. Whew. Yeah, no, I think I got across the line three times. Got a lucky roll there. I'm sure you saw it over there on that side. The stone decided to, well, didn't want to stop. I was about to run and get down, and I saw that it had rolled over the line, so that's the way it goes. I guess it's slightly downhill that way. That said, it's slightly uphill this way. Yeah, that was fun. Good thing the timer went when it did, because, well, that was my last round. So, whether the timer went or not, the bayonet was coming into action. But anyway, there we go. Remote Brutality, Rourke's Drift Edition.
So the score is a fairly easy affair, 180 seconds, minus the 3 10-second bonuses for crossing the lines, giving an end time of 150 seconds. Thanks to all the constituent groups that sponsored and or made the match happen. Varstolika, InRange, Forgotten Weapons, and our good friends Mike and Fab at Bloke on the Range. If you'd like to support the channel, please stop by our Patreon page. The link is in the description below. And for more information on projects and updates between videos, follow us on our Facebook page.